I'm a little busybody, though I know it's very shoddy. I insist on knowing what is going on with everybody, cause I'm such a busybody, always prying, always spying. I'm defying anyone to try to hide the fact from me. Now Mrs. Jones was with the doctor, and her pulse is finally clocked. As suddenly she sees me peeking, and to all her friends I'm shrieking, Mrs. Jones's valve is leaking. A mechanic she is seeking, cause her clutch needs overhauling, and her motor's always stalling.
Hey Broadway World, this is Eddie Varley. I'm sitting here with Bobby Spencer of the hit musical Jersey Boys. He's finishing up his triumphant run in the production, which he was a part of from the very first moments that the Four Seasons music was brought to the stage. We're going to talk to him about leaving the show and what's ahead, and there's some excitement that I can't wait to share with you. Hey
nice,
Bobby, how are you?
Nice segue.
Nice little segue, nice
really
there?
nice.
I did it on top of my head.
Salud, salud.
Salud, salud. I think it's the most mixed variety of fans I've ever seen a show have. I mean, you know, you have Wicked has
all
the young
generations,
girls, all generations. God bless them. And you know, Phantom has the women who want to marry the Phantom, and God bless them to you.
Yeah.
But this show, any moment you walk by that theater at like around 7:30 or whatever, you see this hodgepodge of parents, of grandparents, of older, of doo-wop fans, you know, and of young kids who are going to dream about playing the roles you created.
It's absolutely true, and it'll be around that long for them to jump into it at some point. Yeah, and it really is and the thing that I love so much about the show, being an artist and constantly wanting to create and do new things and new projects, it is a constant show of inspiration, and people that come and see it, even if they're not in the industry of entertainment like we are, they're still inspired, and it elevates them to this amazing level of just joy and excitement unlike any other thing I've ever done, and it's completely real and honest. Yeah, it's very true.
You know, even when I saw that moment, you know, the end of Act 1, I don't want to give anything away, but that end of Act 1, when that comes together, I mean, I was like, my heart's beating, people around me, I've got like a 65-year-old woman clutching me, I don't know her, you know, we're all like together, because you know it, because it's primal, it connects to pop culture-wise, what we know, you know, and it comes from that. Now, what about Nick Massi now? Now you've spent so much time in his skin.
Yeah.
Now, how are you feel good about sort of
say
goodbye to him for now? And
you know, the truth of the matter is that Marshall Brickman and Rick Ellis really wrote an amazing book, and every night I truly was able to stay consistent with the timing of the scenes and of the show and of the pace of the show. But every night, truthfully, I was able to always bring something new to every line that I uttered as Nicky, and I don't. Even though the audience may not have been able to have seen that, I felt it. And I've grown so much as an artist within the last several years that I'm just in this zone of unbelievable passion and persistence and patience and quality. And being a parent heightens everything emotionally. There's more of a connection I have emotionally to myself, but also to whatever character I'm reading or I'm looking at for the very first time, whether I'm going in for an audition or whatever.
And every actor I talk to who has had a child, they change, but it informs their work. It does. Because as actors, there's an ego involved. Now, even if you don't, you know, it's about the work of the character. And suddenly when you're living for, even when you have a significant other, a wife, a husband, but when you have that child, that's, but then everything else is new. You know? So when you're singing this music, it's
everything else is new.
Music.
You're so right. And you know, the thing that's so beautiful about children, and the thing that we actually talked about today, is that the world is so tainted. And that's what this piece really, really touches on, is like how tainted this world is, and you know, there's so many issues we can talk about our world, you know, about politics involved, about the whole green idea and the environment and everything that's going on.
Every step you take, there's a new issue, there's a new aspect that you can discuss. Absolutely.
And when you look at a child, and our son Getty just runs up to a child on the playground, and the first thing he wants to do is hug them. I sit there as a human being, and I think, God, why can't we as adults have that? What happened to that?
That's what we lose. Isn't that with
That's
acting?
What we lose.
Isn't it? If people go, you go to acting school, you're working this, you're breaking it down. Isn't it? At the end of the day, it's resorting to play.
Yeah.
It's pretending. Now you're not faking it. It's not fake.
Oh man,
but
you're right.
People go to, they'll go to Juilliard. They'll spend endless years. They'll go to, Chekhov schools in Russia. But at the end of the day, if you could watch a child, when a child acts, watch a child act as you. I'm sure when Getty will pretend to be daddy or mommy, that's the greatest acting in the world because it's unfiltered. It's that back and forth. He's it.
There's no inhibitions.
He's being it, in the moment. Kids are in the moment every
all
moment.
The time. You're so right. I'm reading this great book right now based on the life of John Cassavetes, and it's called Accidental Genius, and it is just, every page is an inspirational page of what he went through, right? And it's how he lived his life. And I literally will read this page, and I am in any way comparing myself to him, but the passion that he had and that is written about his life and his work, I read it and I go, that's how I feel.
Well, you're a throwback to that kind of actor too, though. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, you're doing these things very organically, and you're connecting to it. And that whole group of actors who did those films, especially him, and you see these, some of his movies, but, Gina Rowlands and all the movies, and Ben Gazzara, and how he got those people to be so real.
So personal, too.
Personal.
Because it was his independent work, and independent is very personal, and no one, he broke the mold, and he changed filmmaking forever because of his heart and his passion and his vision. That's why I wanted to do my own films, because I was tired of giving my scripts out to suits,
sure,
and them coming back with their opinion, and they're just going, you just don't get it. And I've talked to other writers, whether you're songwriters or whether you're screenplay writers or directors or producers. I've talked to so many of these different artists, and they all have the same story. Like, it's so frustrating because there's so many people out there involved with the industry, and they don't understand our connection. They just understand the money connection. Which is the money connection can happen if the art, if you let the artist do the work from their heart. This will work. This will happen.
Of course. And even the biggest hits. I mean, look, the biggest hit of the summer, movie-wise, was The Dark Knight. Now, you look at that film. That is it's like a throwback to the '70s. Like William Friedkin, the French Connection. And Heath Ledger is giving a performance that is every bit as much as Al Pacino in The Godfather. You know what I mean? This is and then you have Wall-E, which is this animated movie. I don't know, if you saw it, with this great heart.
I haven't seen it yet.
And it's got this amazing moments where they have Michael Crawford, who's a huge inspiration to me, singing from Hello Dolly, and this little robot is inspired by something. But again, these two films, probably the two of the biggest hits of the summer, are personal works of art. That are up there, and that's what it is. And I think that's why when you're going forward with your films, and with Jersey Boys got the jukebox musical right. I don't want to call it that, but I'm just saying, if you were going to take the music, the story, as you said, is as vivid and powerful as any movie that I've seen in years.
We just signed a worldwide distribution deal about a month ago for it, and it will be available online through Anywhere Road Distribution. And then that led to financing and getting the money raised for the next feature we just shot called Heterosexuals that my friend Robert McCaskill wrote. And this time around I came on board as executive producer and starred, and we got Natasha Lyonne on board, and Tova Feldsha came on board for a cameo. Yeah, I got a phone call from Jason Howland, who wrote Little Women, and Jason, of course, has an amazing reputation here in the city through years of his work here in the city. And his wife, Danny Davis, wrote the lyrics for this piece, and it's based on Handel's Messiah, and it's called Handel's Messiah Rocks, a Joyful Noise. And it's going to be performed with myself and LaChance, who's wonderful.
Wonderful.
Can't say enough.
What a voice. And what a voice to sing
amazing
with.
Things just about her as a woman and as an artist, but as a human being, man. She's real. She's so down to earth. Yeah. And then we worked with this great guy named Mig Ayesa, who was down to the wire at the reality show for In Excess Rockstar.
Oh, okay.
And he's great.
His name is amazing. Familiar in a way.
Yeah, Mig Ayesa.
Yeah. Remember that name.
He's really incredible. So it's the three of us, and it's going to be the Boston Pops, a heavy metal band in Boston at the Majestic Theater. Wow. It's this visual spectacle. It's a huge rock show wrapped in with like a big movie screen in the background showing images.
All the stuff with something like that.
And honest to God, that it hits Jason. What Jason has done is that musically it is Handel's Messiah.
Sure.
And what's interesting about Handel's Messiah is here's this classical piece, and you hear these notes, and Jason added like this distorted guitar to it, and it sounds like Metallica or Queensryche
But you're still getting it from the
But it's coming from Handel,
right? That's great.
You know, so you just kind of makes you think. Okay, this composer, how long ago wrote this heavy metal opera?
Right.
But you know, it was all done with strings and everything.
Sure.
So it's
and
just
it's there in some of that
incredible.
music. You go back and search in some of that music, but you also hear. I love when they have you'll have Queen.
Yes.
And you'll have Queen done by the London Symphony Orchestra.
Yeah, I know.
And
man.
you'll hear some of their songs like Bicycle. You know what I mean? And suddenly it sounds like Handel's Messiah.
Absolutely,
so music is music, the core of that.
Yeah.
And as a singer, it's got to be exciting to sing this stuff.
It's unbelievable, and we're going to do a CD of it.
Oh, wonderful.
We're filming it for PBS. We're going to have a DVD available.
Oh, great.
So we're going to go out to Boston September 15th.
Great.
And we'll be doing camera rehearsals all week, and then the actual concert is September 21st.
Oh, wonderful. Well, we'll have info, and
It's
you got to keep us
amazing.
posted.
I will.
Got to get us some pictures from it.
I'm
There's
gonna,
some
man.
backstage
It's
stuff
really
or
going to
something.
be
That
phenomenal.
sounds exciting.
But I'm so excited that they're going to film it. They're going to capture this amazing
Well,
piece, and it should be out.
This will live on too.
It will,
Yeah.
and it'll be able. They're going
Be
to
out
do
for the holidays
for the
and-
holiday season. They're not sure. I don't know if it's going to be Christmas or Easter
Sure,
yet.
sure.
But it's really powerful, and spiritually, it's this amazing journey. And Danny Davis is so connected to the piece, and her and Jason have been working on it for the last 3 years, and we had a wonderful rehearsal today, just talking about spirituality and God, and our connection with God, and with our own personal experience of religion and spirituality, and how to bring it to the piece.
It's a big inspiration. for
It's
you
a
too, and
huge
everything you do.
inspiration.
Absolutely.
Well, the thing that I love about Next to Normal is that it comes at the perfect point in my life, playing the role of Dan, who's a husband and a father.
How did this come about? How did
it came about because I did the workshop last October.
Okay.
And I actually played the therapist in the workshop.
Okay.
But when it moved to second stage, I wasn't allowed to leave the show to go do it.
Sure.
But the whole time I was doing the piece, I had such a connection because I'm a husband and a father, and because of what the elements of Next to Normal is about.
It's a powerful piece. It really
it's
is.
powerful, and it's so. I feel that audiences want to be challenged, and they need to be challenged, and I think that this is the right piece for these times.
I believe so.
And it's going to change. It already has changed theater, and the fact that David Stone's behind it as a producer, and that they have Michael Greif on board, and Tom Kitts and Brian Yorkie are so ahead of the ball game as writers, and to deal with this topic, they're ahead of the game. My folks and I were living, my sisters, we were all living in Plano, Texas. I was in 4th grade, and we had just moved there from Minnesota. We had done a lot of traveling because of my dad's business. And my mom was driving me and my friends to the pool in Texas one day, and this song came on the radio. It was Tom Sawyer by Rush. And I heard that. Heard those drums, and I was just like, what is that? I never heard that. Went to the pool. 2 hours later, she picked us up. Get back in the car. Song comes on again. We pulled up in the driveway of our home, and I just looked at her and I go, "Mom, I want to play drums." and she said, "But you know what? It was only because of my mom and because of my dad." My mom would always go, "Bob, Bobby wants to play drums. Bobby wants to sing. Bobby wants to dance," and he'd be like, "All right," hand over the money.
Right.
And my mom was, my agent and manager so early on, driving me to every class, to every performance, to everything under the sun. She definitely deserves 20%. And where I found that logic and that amazing saying, grasp opportunities and you will win, from a fortune cookie. Literally, I don't know when it was, like maybe a year ago.
Like that, yeah.
It does though, but I thought so much of that fortune.
Right.
I taped it to the bottom of my drawer in my kitchen.
I love it.
My junk drawer, where I throw my bracelets, and my rings,
so
and my keys, and my phone.
Right.
And so I'm clearing it out like a month ago, and there it is. It says, "Grasp opportunities, and you will win." And I just started laughing, and I go, "Wow, Jersey Boys was an opportunity."
Yeah.
Farm Girl in New York was an opportunity. Heterosexuals reading Robert's script was an opportunity. Jason and Danny calling me for the Messiah Rocks concert.
Opportunity.
I'm like, opportunity. And then calling Michael Greif and having him and the whole group believe in me enough to have me on board.
Creating an opportunity.
Yeah, creating the opportunity. Yeah. That is what it's all about.
We're blessed to have you on
dude. I love
Broadway World.
you. I really
same
mean
here.
it.
Absolutely.
I appreciate
Thanks
it.
so much for being with us today.
All right. Thanks,
I love
everybody.
this, man.
I love you.
We'll see you on
do.
BroadwayWorld.com. Thanks
Bye.
for spending the afternoon with us. Bye.
I'm a little busybody, though I know it's very shoddy. I insist on knowing what is going on with everybody, cause I'm such a busybody, always prying, always spying. I'm defying anyone to try to hide the fact from me. Now Mrs. Jones was with the doctor, and her pulse is finally clocked, as suddenly she sees me peeking.